I'm Kate Barker and I'm the Managing Director of LGBT Alliance. I'd just like to say, amazing that you've all come and thank you so much. It's such an important issue, self-ID, for all women, but for lesbians in particular. And our hope for this evening is that we'll all be able to listen to Tonia's story, we'll all be able to hear all the other speakers, and as well as being inspired and feeling really energised by it, we'll all be armed with good arguments and good information so that when we leave and speak to people outside of our immediate circle, we'll be able to persuade them a bit more towards our position. So that's our hope. We've got an absolutely fantastic panel, and we're over to you. I think we're going to introduce the speakers.
Oh, only one mic. Hi everybody, welcome, thank you for coming. Honestly, I'm so thrilled to be at a women-only event. I'm particularly thrilled that there's quite a few lesbians here as well. Amazing. Anyway, I'm Bronwen Evans, LGBT Alliance Cymru, Lesbian Labour, live in a village in mid-Wales somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Thrilled to be here. Cut to the chase. Let me go first of all to the amazing, wonderful founder of co-founder, I was going to say that, of LGBT Alliance, Kate Harris.
Thank you, Bronwen, and thank you from the bottom of my heart for not introducing me as Bev Jackson. Somebody this evening who will remain nameless. I'm looking at you, Bronwen. Came up to me and said, "Oh, it's lovely to see you." And I was speaking at one of Posey Parker's events in Hyde Park last year, and this woman rushed up to me and said, "Can I have a selfie?" And I said, "Oh, sure thing." And then I thought, who do you think I am? So I asked her, and she said, "You're Bev." So, on that note, I just want to finish by saying Mr. Gibbon, the QC, Casey now, who interrogated me for 5 hours at the recent trial in September, finished my questioning by saying, "Thank you, Miss Jackson." So, there we are. That's the comedy bit of my speech. I can't tell you what this means to all of us to be together at a women's event. It's our first women-only event, and it's fabulous. The whole roadshow is the brainchild of Barker. Round of applause for Barker, please. Our managing director, who realised that Tonia's case illustrated the horrific situation that we are now in as lesbians. Because unless we recognise that a lesbian who has a penis is a lesbian, we can be accused of hate crime, which is precisely what happened to Tonia. So this roadshow has been spectacularly successful. Our first night was Monday night in Edinburgh, and I must say, I got carried away. I hope that the video of me dancing to the Vagina Anthem won't go viral, but I was just so excited to be in a lesbian, there were some straight women there as well, God bless them, but it was just fabulous. The vibe, the spirit, the life, everything that we've missed for the last few decades. And you have got a treat to come with Tonia and Paula, absolutely outstanding musicians. One of the questions that came up in Edinburgh was, are we going to win? And another question that came up was, what can we do to make sure we win? Well, the answer to the first question is, yes we will, and yes we are, because we are party non-political, and we will take support and expertise from anybody who will provide it, as long as they do not cross the threshold of being anti-women. So we had this strategic planning day, and one of the people there said, I've got a nice flip chart. Let's list. Blue sky thinking. Don't you love that phrase? So we pushed the envelope, we thought outside the box, and we came out with a number of items, all quite ridiculous a year ago. Number 1, shut down GIDS. Number 2, get rid of self-ID in Scotland. I genuinely believe, being a brilliant political strategist that I am, the next leader of the SNP will want to start afresh. She or he will want quick wins, eye-catching headlines. A judicial review against Westminster on Section 35 of the Scotland Bill is not massively interesting to the voters, nor is resurrecting a bill that has become a laughingstock around the world for its utter incompetence, displayed, thankfully, by the friend of all TERFs, Adam Graham. So I want to take my hat off to Nicola Sturgeon for what she's done for our movement. So those were the top 2 items on our list. But in addition to those, we've got a number of other battles to fight. The big one is this popular myth that groups like Stonewall, Mermaids and Gendered Intelligence and about 450 others who all belong to LGBT Consortium represent the views of lesbians, gays and bisexuals. They do not. So one of the things I would ask all of you to do is what we're going to do from now on, which is to refer to these groups as QT plus groups. We're just going to leave out the LGB. And I think the sooner we can get that into common parlance, the better. And the other thing that I would ask you to do is if you're writing comments, letters, articles in the Times, in the Telegraph, Daily Mail, anywhere where you can comment, whenever somebody like Nick Robinson is interviewing somebody like Ian Anderson, what they do is to say to Ian Anderson, but surely, Ian Anderson, you should be speaking to the gender critical groups, like Women's Place UK. No, Nick. They should be speaking to LGB Alliance. Now, whatever you do, please continue to try to make LGB Alliance a mainstream organisation. We are a broad tactical group. We always have been a coalition. We want to have more women's events, we want to have more men's events, but for the time being, the fight is for our survival. It is a war. And we know that the collateral damage in this war are largely teenage girls who would grow up to be lesbians. That's the reason I'm in this fight. So I will compromise as much as I need to ensure that we can try to limit the damage for another generation of girls. So please push to get LGB Alliance a voice. We are still banned from the BBC, we're banned from ITV, we're banned from Channel 4, we're sick of it. Our friends, surprisingly, are not The Guardian, but they're The Telegraph, The Times and The Spectator. But we are ready. We're ready to step up. We don't have the resources. We're a bunch of lunatic volunteers and half of Kate Barker. We do our very best every single day to fight this battle. And I thank every one of you who stands up to fight the battle with us. Onward to victory.
Thanks very much, Kate. Well said. So our next speaker is the amazing and wonderful Dee McCullough, my friend, camping organiser extraordinaire, gas engineer, runs her own renewable energy company, and has a really cute little dog called Kipper. I think I'm in love with him. Well, that too, but I didn't want to say. Dee, I don't know if you want to stand there or go like.
Okay, unaccustomed as I am to this sort of thing, bear with me. So I was asked to come along tonight to talk to you like a good news story, because an awful lot of this that's going on at the moment is actually, you know, a bit of a fight. And we thought it might be nice for lesbians to concentrate on some good stuff. So I set up Women's Zone, that's Women Zone, which is an organisation for lesbians and bisexual women, and we set it up in 1998 in Wales, and we had some fantastic times over the years. Jen down the back there was one of our chief stuffers when it was the days of...
Beg your pardon.
I know. when it was the days of collating pieces of paper, sticking them in envelopes and sending them out to women so they knew what was happening. So we set up a newsletter that went out every 2 months. A lot of hard work, but it was great. We had lots of women-only events, and it made us realise the importance of what we feel was women's centres in the day, because those women's centres, young women, don't have that. They don't have that community, that place to go to where they can get the support to do what they want to do, whatever that might be. So yeah, that's a bit of a sad thing, but nevertheless, Women's Zone set up and we did lots of things, and then the internet came along and there was equal marriage rights and employment laws came in, and it kind of came to an end because, you know, life seemed to be improving for lesbians and it didn't really seem to be needed anymore. People found friends on Pink Sofa and what have you, and they went off in their friendship groups. And for the last umpteen years, we haven't really been doing an awful lot. And then along came lockdown, and along came the TQ plus, quite right, to keep them separate from us. And we found that our lesbians were lonely and isolated, and there was nothing to go to after lockdown opened, and you wanted to come out, and you wanted to make friends, and you wanted to party, and you wanted to do everything. And there was nothing, you know, it was all TQ plus. And I went along to this camping group, and there, sitting along the way from it, was a lesbian and bisexual camping group, and there was a bloke in a skirt. And so some of us lesbians were going around huddling together and having little conversations, and we knew that this was not what we wanted, but somewhere along the line, women had given away our community. And so we felt quite annoyed about that. So we put in a grant application last year to Swansea Council, and we got £8,000 for organising events just for lesbians. So the point is, if you don't ask, you won't get. So be bold, go out, ask. So we put on this, and money had to be spent in a month. And that was really hard. But we came up with an amazing programme. I sat down and I thought, well, what do lesbians like doing? What can we spend, you know?
Throwing axes.
Yes, we had axe throwing, we had archery, we had walks, we had rock pulling and bushcraft. We went out into the, you know, building fires and dens, and, you know, all the sorts of things that lesbians love doing. I mean, we also had a little bit of artwork and a little bit of singing and so on and so forth. But this money was given to us, and what we found was it actually was a springboard for revamping Women's Zone. So Women's Zone's back. Yay! And we are going to organise lesbian-only events. There will be no men at our event. So we say it's lesbian, that's what you're going to get when you come through the door. There won't be a man coming in, because if he is, he'll be asked to leave. So my partner in crime, not my partner, but my sort of like Women's Own partner, Sarah Tamburn, who's not here tonight, she and I, we got involved with Philia. And Philia, as you know, is one of the biggest women's lesbian. That's quite a slip. Yes, women's feminist conference in the UK. And we went along to Cardiff last year, and there was over 2,000 women there. It was absolutely amazing. But Philia had a legacy project, and they said to us, what would we like to see happen? And we said, well, you know, there are laws in the UK that allow women to have same-sex spaces. There are laws in the UK that actually protect lesbians. You know, the Equality Act 2010 allows lesbians to organise and have lesbian-only space. So why are so many lesbians giving away our spaces? Yeah. You know, why are so many lesbians allowing TQ plus in? They don't have to. So we have here, and I've brought loads of copies tonight, it's a leaflet. It's been brought together by a very clever barrister called Naomi Cunningham. And this leaflet tells you exactly what you need to know to be able to run women-only, lesbian-only spaces. The minute you accept one trans person into that space, it becomes mixed sex. And you cannot stop them coming in future. So that's why Women's Zone is actually really, we're really, strong about saying, determined, thank you Paula for the word, we're really determined to keep the TQ plus out. Because once we give in, that's it. So, spin-offs, yeah, we've had spin-offs. We had that lovely, amazing time last year with the axe sewing and all the rest of it. There are new groups setting up now all the time. We've got Women on Water, which has got loads of women who are going off canoeing, kayaking, paddleboarding. We've got regular walks groups happening. We've got a cafe afternoon in a Swansea cafe every month. We have camps. There's a camp I've set up called Crone Zone. And Crone Zone is for gender critical lesbians. So you won't be allowed to come if you're not gender critical. Because we want a safe space for women to go and go about these things without somebody saying, oh, you can't say that. Yeah, so we want to give you these safe spaces so that you can reconnect, and that's really it, I think. I've probably talked more than 10 minutes, I think.